There are many books that are compared to Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. I've compiled a list of 16 books worth reading for avid book lovers who enjoy stories with the same tone and theme as this well-known work. This video includes summaries about each title so readers can decide if they're interested enough in any particular novel to check it out themselves. Before that, I want to share the short summary of Atlas Shrugged with you. Atlas Shrugged Summary. Atlas Shrugged is a novel that describes the dystopian United States in which the most creative industrialists, scientists, and artists go on strike and retreat to a mountainous hideaway where they build a free economy. A man who calls himself John Galt leads a small group to save the world from a top-heavy government bureaucracy and a strangling social system. John Galt is the protagonist of Rand's novel, which she wrote as an implicit repudiation of Karl Marx's economic ideologies. Here are the 16 books similar to Atlas Shrugged that are matched in genre or written by authors like Ayn Rand. Objectivism, The Philosophy of Ayn Rand, by Leonard Peikoff. In this book, Peikoff sets forth the essence of objectivism, the philosophy that holds man's life as its standard of value and reason as the only means of knowledge. He explains how objectivism differs from other philosophies, why it is relevant to us today, and how we can live our lives consistent with its principles. The Jury by Mickey Spillane. This book was Mickey Spillane's first novel. It established him as the original tough guy detective novelist. In this book, he created one of crime fiction's most enduring characters, Mike Hammer. This is a thrilling courtroom drama that tells the tale of a man on trial for his life. He vows revenge against the jurors who let him down when he is found guilty and sentenced to death. As each juror dies in turn, our hero tries to find out who's behind it all before they get to him. The Road to Serfdom, by Friedrich A. Hayek. This is a book by economist and philosopher Friedrich Hayek, in which he places the interwar development of totalitarianism in a historical context. The title refers to the Road to Serfdom concept developed by Austrian school economist Ludwig von Mises, 1881 to 1973, during World War II. Brave New World, by Aldous Huxley. The novel focuses on the themes of dehumanization, social stratification, and psychological manipulation. It all starts when the director of hatcheries and conditioning decides to experiment with sleep learning and hypnopedia, the art of learning while asleep. As a result, he creates children who are conditioned from birth to be happy about their status as second-class citizens. In Brave New World, citizens are created in hatcheries where they are genetically engineered to be physically perfect specimens. They are lack of any emotions or feelings that would interfere with their roles in society. They live in an artificial environment called the world state, where they work at jobs that keep society running at full efficiency. 1984, by George Orwell. The story takes place in London, the capital of Airstrip 1, formerly known as Great Britain, which is now part of a province called Oceania. Winston Smith, the main character, lives in London during the year 1984 under the control of a totalitarian government. The government watches him every second of his life. Winston hates this government and everything it represents because he knows that they are lying to him about their true intentions. In the end, Winston is forced to betray Julia to prove a feeling of complete love and devotion to Big Brother. This is a must-read for anyone who is looking for writings of authors like Ayn Rand. The Law, by Frederick Bastiat. This is an important book on political economy. It is a devastating critique of what Bastiat called the legal plunder that characterizes all governmental systems. Catch-22, by Joseph Heller. The term catch-22 has entered the English language, referring to a type of unsolvable logic puzzle sometimes called a double bind. The Catch-22 is a satirical novel set during World War II. It follows the story of Captain John Yossarian. He was a U.S. Army Air Force's B-25 bombardier who was stationed on the island of Pianosa off Italy, and has struggled to fulfill what he sees as his moral duty to avoid killing people while fulfilling his military requirement. Crime and Punishment, by Fyodor Dostoevsky. This book follows the narrative of Rodion Raskolnikov. He is a poor ex-student in St. Petersburg who develops and implements a plan to assassinate an unscrupulous pawnbroker for her money. Raskolnikov argues that with the pawnbroker's money, he can perform good deeds to counterbalance the crime. He will thus redeem his sin. The Old Man and the Sea, by Ernest Hemingway. The story centers on an old Cuban fisherman who struggles for days to catch a fish. On that day, he catches a huge marlin, hooks and lands a giant swordfish, which is as long as his boat. The Art of War, by Sun Tzu. The Art of War is one of the oldest and most influential military texts in history. Written thousands of years ago, leaders like Mao Zedong and General Vo Nguyen used this guide to winning battles and wars. Animal Farm, by George Orwell. Animal Farm is a novel about the Russian Revolution told from the perspective of farm animals. The book was written during World War II. It reflected the story of a group of animals who rise up against their human owners. He created an idyllic society where all animals are equal. The Brothers Karamazov, by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It concerns an illegitimate parricide in a provincial Russian town at the end of the 19th century. Largely based on the story of the murder of Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov, it is one of his best-known works, along with Crime and Punishment, 1866, and The Idiot, 1869. The Ethics of Liberty, by Murray N. Rothbard. In this book, the author expounds on his political philosophy of anarcho-capitalism or natural order anarchism. Captain Blood, His Odyssey, by Raphael Sabatini. A classic tale of adventure, romance, and betrayal set in the turbulent 17th century. The story follows the fortunes of Captain Blood as he rises from impoverished obscurity to command a pirate ship. He leads an audacious campaign against the might of the Spanish Empire. 12 Rules for Life, by Jordan B. Peterson. Jordan B. Peterson is a clinical psychologist, cultural critic, former Harvard professor, and now public intellectual. His primary focus is on the psychology of belief and how belief shapes people's lives. This book is about how to live a meaningful life. It's about the mistakes we make and the lessons we can learn from them. It's about knowing what doesn't work and knowing that you don't know much else. Slaughterhouse-Five, by Kurt Vonnegut Jr. It is an anti-war novel that draws readers into the story of Billy Pilgrim, an American soldier who becomes unstuck in time. The narrative moves back and forth between scenes of Pilgrim's life during World War II. His bizarre experiences as a prisoner of war who witnesses the firebombing of Dresden. The recommended books are all worth reading. They offer a different perspective on life or an interesting storyline to keep you hooked. To find out more about how much any given books will cost, you can check its price on Amazon.